SportsGrid Radio Network.
Know someone with a drinking or drug problem? Learn how to get sober after we share these stories.
I was 35 with two beautiful children when my life and addiction started to spiral out of control. After my divorce, I went into a depression cycle and started drinking more often and using prescription drugs. After my second DWI and arrest, my ex-husband threatened to take our children away from me.
I was 17 when I became addicted to heroin and meth. I thought I could quit on my own, but I couldn't. It hit me when I was arrested.
Get sober now. Your private insurance may cover costs and we'll get you here. It's simple. Just call Elite Rehab Placement right now. Please, don't wait. Your life matters to us.
800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. Call right now before it's too late. That's 800-959-6348.
Football full circle.
And I have to be honest with you, if Fields picks up this victory this coming weekend, I don't care how ugly it is, there's no way that Mike Tomlin could then turn to Russell Wilson.
Why not? Well, what has Justin Fields done? What has this guy done to deserve this starting job if he didn't win it in the preseason, which clearly he did not?
It's Football Full Circle with Scott Wetzel and Joe Lisi. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Right before your very eyes. The boys of summer are about to become the champions of fall. MLB playoffs are coming. And SportsGrid will bring you all the angles, strategies, and info. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
It's the opening kickoff with Carver and Lisi.
All right, here we go. Carver and Lisi with you. SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159. Great to have you with us here on the grid. 844-843-6879 is the number. A very busy Wednesday night on the grid as we have plenty to do. Of course, tons of football talk. We have a lot of baseball tonight, some very important games as well. In terms of the playoff race with only a week and a half to go in the regular season. But clearly, football will be the focus as we start looking ahead to week 3 of the NFL, week 4 in the college, and a lot of that also because Joe's back with us tonight. Mike Carver with you and the encyclopedia of college football, the one, the only. Go for the 2, Joe Lisi. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Carver. You don't seem enthused. I come back for you on Wednesday.
Nah.
It's like no juice with me. You know, no Joe Buck pipes, nothing. You got nothing. It's like you're actually a party. I think a part of you is actually upset that I'm here tonight. I think there's a slight.
I don't know.
Let me just say this.
I don't know if I go that far, but
a little bit. Smashed the over in Arizona, Colorado. Smashed it. 7-2 on the early line picks. The late game was the over 8.5 San Francisco and Baltimore. 5-2 bottom 6. 5-2 bottom 6. We're on the verge of being 8-2, 8-2, 8-2. What do you think about that with the baseball picks filling in for the early line? Huh?
Yeah, but did you at least play them yourself this week? I mean, last week you told me that, and I didn't play it. I didn't play it. So does it? I mean, if you don't play it, what's the difference? If you're not going to play it, why does it matter?
I did 16 shows today. 16, all football related. I got more
shows every day. I know. I know. You got a lot of time, a lot of things going on.
I'm breaking down schematics. I'm talking ACC. I'm talking SEC. I'm sitting with you. I gotta catch you this weekend. You got me again. Did you get me in the college picks? I don't know. Did you?
Certainly did. I went 4-3. You went 3-4. So that did happen.
All right. Don't be sticking your chest out with that.
I know, but when it's a game one week and a game another week and a game another week, they start to add up after a while. It starts to add up.
Well, how much of a lead do you have on me? How much of a lead? I was 10-8 heading into the weekend.
If you'd like to pull out the ledger, here we go. I am 15-10 overall so
and I'm
far this year.
13 and 12.
13 and 12, so 2 games
All right,
up.
so
2 games up.
So what are you sticking your chest out? It's not even end of September.
It's just consistency for me right now. 4-3, 4-3, 6-1. If I didn't have that dopey week 0 games that I got basically forced into picking, we would have been all right. Those awful week 0 games that we had. So that's okay.
Right. So
we're still a couple games
you
over.
came out no preseason. Is that what it was? You were raw. You
that
were
was
cold.
it.
You told me in the offseason you were breaking down everything. You were ready to get me. I lost 1 game by a half with Central Michigan last week that they had Illinois on the ropes and they couldn't close the door. I would have been 4-3 as well.
Ifs and buts were candy and nuts. Every day would be Christmas. That's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Ifs and buts, a half an inch here, a half a yard there, a half of this there. I mean, it all kind of goes.
Okay, Tony. Listen, not only that, but what happened? I heard Roy from Nebraska wanted to call in last night. What happened?
I don't know what you're talking about with that. I heard you say that before, too. I'm not sure what that is. What do you mean, Roy from Nebraska?
I'm Roy from Nebraska.
Why do you try to call under these out of these games? You try to call under these names on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's the point. I don't want you to know it's me. I don't want you to know it's me.
Well, what does it matter if I know it's you?
Because then you prepare yourself. When you think it's Roy from Nebraska.
Prepare myself. Prepare myself for what? What am I preparing myself for?
For the rat that I'm going to club you with. How about that?
I don't know what you want me to say. Who'd you go after this week? I said last night you went to find Kelly in Baton Rouge, or was it Napier? Who'd you go after this week that did you wrong on Saturday?
Napier didn't really cost me that much. Napier didn't really cost me that much. You want to know who cost me? LSU cost me. But I backed it up, though. I doubled down on the over in Notre Dame. I altered that up to 52.5, so they had 49.5. I was happy. Air Force was the one that clipped me. I spreaded it to 22.5. They were down 6-3. I needed them to complete a big parlay because I had it with Kentucky. I told you that Kentucky team would be live. And the gutless Falcons laid an egg in the second half. Guys going for it. Troy Calhoun going for it on his own 30. A 15-point game. He's going for it on his own 30. Unbelievable. Guy's gutless.
Yeah, I'm done with LSU. I don't want to hear about them anymore.
Good.
That is one team
that is the best news I heard yet. Finally,
that is
get the
one
monkey
team.
off of our back.
They will not
on them last week.
They will not even sniff the college football playoff. They won't even sniff the college football playoff.
Would you like to wager on that now?
They might be like the 6th best team in the SEC this year. Maybe even like they are
crazy.
They are not even close. First of all, Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, and Alabama will all be in the college football playoff.
How good did Georgia look on the road in Lexington, 13-12? It's okay.
All these teams have a game like that. All these teams have a game like that.
LSU too. LSU got their big SEC
but here's the
game
problem.
out of the way.
LSU's already lost a game. Okay, they've already lost one game, and now they've looked bad in another game. See, now it's just they should have lost that game. But if those dirty refs wouldn't have called back those pick sixes.
Dirty refs. That was a good call. Come on.
It was a bad call. Very bad call.
With the bad
Typical
call.
getting
Beamer
good.
looked like he stuck his finger in the socket. He's all like unbelievable.
Typical LSU getting the calls at the end of the game.
Yeah, I know. I know. Because Alabama never gets those calls. Alabama never gets those calls, right?
Never get the
calls. Alabama never gets those calls, right? With Nick Saban?
Yes.
They never got those. The Chiefs never get those calls.
They don't get them anymore. Now they got Kalen DeBoer there now, so they're not going to get those calls.
Please. You see Shane Beamer with it. He's so animated, too. I told you. It's like he stuck his finger in the socket, and all of a sudden, he's like going off on the refs. Those were all good calls. All good calls. You know it as well as anybody else.
I thought
he abused the quarterback.
I thought they jobbed South Carolina, to be quite honest with you, in the game. I thought they jobbed them. It should have been a loss. But
that
the
secondary
SEC
got
refs
sliced and diced.
Made sure that they went to...
got sliced and diced. Carver and Lisi. What a catch by Lacey, too. He went up and he went big. He went up the ladder.
Up the ladder.
Up the ladder. That's right. You get me upset. I haven't had dinner yet either. I'm a little cranky.
We will go through. We'll try to run through a bunch of stuff from college this past week, and then we got to start looking at this week, which is going to include things like Tennessee going to Oklahoma, and that is, you want to talk about the smash play of the week. Tennessee is going to embarrass Oklahoma in that game on Saturday night.
You think so?
Embarrass
really
Oklahoma in that game.
That
is no doubt about it. Soccer quarters, whatever it is, the nonsense that you talk about, that's what you're going to get Saturday night in Norman. Smash job. Now they're not going to score 60, 70 points like they've been scoring on everyone else, NC State and Kent State. They're only probably going to score in the 40s, but it's still going to be a smash job. A smash.
Oh, really? You really believe that, huh?
Oklahoma's got, you want to know what they got, Joe? No shot in that game on Saturday night.
That can make the best bets this week.
USC going to Ann Arbor. Michigan, no shot in that game either, Joe. Michigan's got no shot against USC.
This is the
Miller Moss.
This is the weekend you get smashed. This is the weekend they rip out the rug from Big Mikey. This is it. Walking around like boss.
Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio. We're just getting going on a Wednesday night. We're back after this.
Fall is here. It's getting cooler. Football and the World Series are coming in. Life is good. SportsGrid makes it better. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Sports Rage tonight.
Bryce Young with the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, does Bryce Young suck? Yes, he sucks. He's too small. He doesn't have any talent to work around him, but it's a team effort. The Carolina Panthers defense is terrible. It's not like, oh, God, if the Carolina Panthers only had a quarterback, they'd be good. Look at all the ridiculously stupid moves that the Carolina Panthers have made. It's like, oh, we need players. You had Christian McCaffrey.
It's Sports Rage tonight with Gabe Morency. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Grady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and SiriusXM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Money Line at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Morency on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Days are getting cooler. The shadows are getting longer. You know what that means. It's football weather. So bundle up and keep it here for all the latest strategies and gridiron information. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi with you, SportsGrid Radio, SiriusXM, Channel 159, here with you on a Wednesday night on the grid. Wednesday, Joe's here then. Of course, Joe, Wednesdays and Fridays, is in the mix with us here on Carver and Lisi. So we have a lot to do. Let me at least give you updated on what's happening with the baseball. There is several games of significance here tonight that I am keeping my eye on. That's for sure. Hero. First of all, the Giants lead the Orioles 5-3, bottom of the sixth in Baltimore. Of course, the Orioles now 4 games back of the Yankees, who play later tonight in Seattle. They have the late night game. 6-0, Dodgers lead the Marlins. That is in the bottom of the sixth in Miami. Of course, they scored 20 runs last night. Not as much tonight. The Marlins, they scored 20. It was 11-9 last night. Marlins are not doing their part in it as well. Twins lead the Guardians 2-1. So the Twins, a game and a half up on the Royals for the last wild card spot in the American League. We'll see if they can get themselves a win there, because the Royals are in Kansas City, 1-1 going to the bottom of the second. Scooble's on the mound for Detroit tonight, and they need to keep pace. Phillies lead the Brewers 1-0. Mets lead the Nationals 3-0. So the Mets are winning and the Braves are winning 2-1. They got a homer from Ozuna here in the top of the seventh, and they've loaded the bases since then. So with our RC is up right now for them. So we'll see if he can get a couple of these runs in with one out. Padres lead the Stros 1-0 in the seventh on a Manny Machado homer. Everything else pretty much later. Actually, Yankees-Mariners is the only late-night game. Blue Jays and Rangers have started. They're in the bottom of the first in Arlington. All right, Joe. So what do you want to get through? Some of these, we'll do some of these college things now, and then we'll do the NFL later on. Is that how you want to do this?
Whatever you want. It's your show, Mikey. It's your show. Whatever you want to do.
And it kind of is. I mean, yeah. I mean, you pop in now a couple nights a week with me. So we'll try to move on.
Hang on. Is that what it is now? I see. It's Carver and Lisi.
It's all right.
I'm part of the dynamic duo. I'm in the sidecar. I'm not driving the bus, but at least I'm part of the wheels here. No,
you're part of the wheels. You are. You mentioned LSU 36-33. They got South Carolina got jobbed. We talked about that. Let me give you a couple of others here, Joe, from this week of interest. You knew that, and we talked a lot last Wednesday about this. How gutless Freeman is. You knew he was going to play bully ball in West Lafayette and smash Purdue to try to make up for the fact that they lost at home to Northern Illinois, and they laid the hammer on the Boilermakers there in that game. Let me bully him up. Let me drop 66 on him, make people try to forget.
Good.
I don't forget, Marcus. All right, you still lost to Northern Illinois at home as much as you try to sugarcoat it with a big win over Purdue, who stinks also. And then they play Miami of Ohio.
He put money in my pocket.
So you like him, man. I guess that's a reason. You don't have the personal attachment to it like I do. So it's really just window shopping.
You know what kills me? You still bleed, the gold and yellow and gold or whatever it is,
I do.
until and like I tell you, I'm so jaded that there is no affinity. I'm a Dolphin fan. I bet against the Dolphins all the time. I mean, the only team I technically won't bet against is probably LSU sometimes, and Georgia at times.
There's a few teams you could put up on that list. There's several others that are there as well, and I'm sure you're going to go back to the well with Texas Tech this week.
Big game.
Why.
Dillingham.
Big game.
Dillingham coming into town with Sam Levitt. That's a little hornet's nest. I can't wait to watch that game.
Yeah, Arizona State's been pretty spunky so far. 3-0 for them this year as they go into that game. What's that number here, Joe? Texas Tech -3? I got 3. I see 3 here.
Come on, hero. Come on, step up, make a play. Step up, make a play. Take a side.
I'll take Arizona.
Don't talk it.
I'll take Arizona State.
Don't talk it.
I'll take Arizona
Don't talk
State.
what?
In that
yeah?
game. That's who I'll take.
Yeah,
I'll take
That's
Arizona
a principal play. That's a principal play for Carver. It's good.
Probably is.
I'm just no cap, just going against you. No cap, just going against you. I know, Joe. We'll go back to the well.
Look, if you look at who's played better so far, it's Arizona State. They've played better. They've been the better football team through 3 weeks. You're impressed with what Texas Tech has done? You're impressed with an overtime win over Abilene Christian? You're impressed with getting smashed in Pullman by Washington State? You're impressed by those performances?
Hey, look at what Wazoo did in a rivalry game against your boy Jed Fish. They beat him up.
Team.
Will Rogers in a big spot never steps up.
Playing with a chip.
I can tell you that.
Playing with a chip. So I like to see it. Alabama smashed Wisconsin. I've heard people say, oh, well, they lost Van Dyke. Yeah, they would have got smashed anyway. Let's just call that like it is. They would have got smashed even if Van Dyke didn't get hurt. Oh, you know that. You know they would have got smashed either way.
I needed Van Dyke to get to 175 passing, so he cost me too. They're dead to me.
It's always something with you. There's always some kind of attachment.
What do you mean? It's always something with me.
It's always like a little Post-it note next to the game. I needed Van Dyke to get $170. He let me down. Gutless. No cover for Michigan again. I think they're 0-3 against the spread. If I remember correctly. Against Arkansas State, but they're getting ready for this USC game, which we'll talk about as we move forward. But they're switching quarterbacks. They're going to orgy. I don't think it matters, Joe. They just don't have a good offense this year. Their offense is in the NFL.
See, you know what I love? You seem to have it all figured out. He's got the answers against Texas Tech, got the answers now for Notre Dame and Freeman, already has a good read on LSU, knows what's going to happen. He's got the crystal ball. Come to Mikey. Mikey the Great. $5 and I'll tell you your fortune.
I'm not going to back these gutless teams that you're backing. The LSUs and the Texas Techs. I'm not backing them. Yeah, I'm not getting involved.
You got it all figured out. You're a hero. Mikey the Great. Pay him $5.
You're a big Notre Dame guy now, so I guess you're going to lay 4 touchdowns. You should put this week? You're going to lay it with Notre Dame this week?
There in a robe. Go to a carnival and have somebody sit. Pay you $5.
Are you going to lay it? Are you going to lay it with Notre Dame this week? Are you laying it with Notre Dame this week against Miami of Ohio? Nah, probably not. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We're back after
Ball is coming. Don't look like an idiot at work. Know your stuff. Football and everything else. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
For anyone who's worried about back taxes, has not filed tax returns, and doesn't know what to do next, stop and listen. Not filing your taxes can have severe consequences, especially in this political climate. Now that COVID is over, the IRS is getting aggressive, massively increasing enforcement and collection efforts. With politicians making all sorts of promises, especially when it comes to taxes, hiding and not dealing with your taxes will cause you harsh legal and financial ramifications. But right now, the IRS offers forgiveness and writes off a massive amount of tax debt. The Tax Doctor offers a free service that helps people get out of IRS collections and back in good standing with the government. Don't hide or bury your head in the sand. Take advantage of our free service. Call now to learn more. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. That's 800-816-4492.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
Unitas again is going to go to the air.
1966, Baltimore Colts quarterback Johnny Unitas throws 4 touchdown passes in a 38-23 win over the Vikings to surpass Y.A. Tittle as the NFL's career leader with 212 touchdowns. Unitas finished his career with 290 touchdown passes and over 40,000 yards. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
Football full circle.
And I have to be honest with you, if Fields picks up this victory this coming weekend, I don't care how ugly it is. There's no way that Mike Tomlin could then turn to Russell Wilson.
Why not? Well, what has Justin Fields done? What has this guy done to deserve this starting job if he didn't win it in the preseason, which clearly he did not?
It's football full circle with Scott Wetzel and Joe Lisi. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. When the weather cools off, Major League Baseball playoffs heat up. Sit tight. The World Series is coming. Keep it here for every bit of the action with strategies and information to give you the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
We're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 159. Great to have you with us here on the grid. All right, Joe, a few other ones for you. How about Florida State being 0-3 now? Losing it to Memphis at home. That, I'll tell you, the Norvell train was pulling out of the station down there, Joe. Now, do you think he's got a little longer rope because of last year? Or is if this continues to get out of control, could he get chopped
So I had an interview. So you must be reading Twitter because I said he's a little more stable than Napier, right? All right. So I had an interview this week. Okay, I had an interview this week with Front Office Sports, and they were asking me about Napier and Norvell specifically, and I said yes, Napier. If he loses to Miss State, he's chopped. Norvell, obviously, he gets a little bit of a pass because of 13-0 in the regular season. I said, but if he starts out 0-4, 0-5, he's a little more stable. That's a crazy statement. That's he's slightly more stable. All right, he's slightly more stable. And what I mean by that is if they start 0-5, Carver, I mean, come on. He started 0-4 in 21. They gave him one pass. This team is not supposed to be 0-3. You're not supposed to lose to a team that in the offseason in Memphis was a 28.5-point dog in your house. If Justin Wilcox and Cal come in there and kick them around, I think there's a good possibility I think they buy him. Now, I'll say this right now. I think it's a bounce-back spot, cheap number. Nobody's going to bet them. And the fact that people jumped on Memphis last week, Florida State last week against Memphis, they got burned. I think I'm willing to take a shot. I'm not going to deny it. I'm willing to take a shot in this game right here, right now.
This is obviously Cal's first game in the ACC, and they've got to travel all the way across the country, about as far as you can go. At Berkeley, all the way down to Tallahassee. I guess obviously Miami would be a little bit further for them. I'm sure some other things on the East Coast, but that's a long trip to start your ACC season. Cal's been pretty good. But
they got
look, I'm not going to play the game, Joe, but I think if I had to, I might be with you, especially under 3 points. It's got to be a bounce-back spot for Florida State.
And I just look at the gambling aspect. People that lost money, I didn't bet that game last week, but I watched it. Right. And people that did bet the 5.5 are like, there's no way I'm going to bet against an undefeated team. So in terms of that situation, that's when I want to get on it, right? Yeah, I want to get on it when nobody wants to look at it, right? And that's the shot. Now, again, I will say this. The biggest thing for them, Carver, they're giving up 172 rushing yards per game. I mean, come on. They can't run the football. They're averaging 52 rushing yards per game. They played Memphis. They played Georgia Tech. They played Boston College. I mean, come on.
It is amazing, Joe. It really is. Now, who gets chopped first? I actually asked this to Pharrell the other day. When Florida and Florida State play on Thanksgiving weekend, will Napier be there? Will Norvell be there? Will they both be gone, or will they both still be there? What do you think?
I think Napier's gone because, again, I think he's got a big problem. They have no offensive identity. Those kids look like they're just walking through the motion. And again, this line, he could be gone this weekend. They go to Starkville, Carver, for the first time since 2018. And you know that's not an easy place to play with the Cowbells. That line opened up at 4.5. It's up to 6.5 now.
That team stinks, Mississippi State. Like, I know Florida stinks too, but, I mean, geez. And here's his other problem, Joe. Like, is he playing the kid quarterback or not? Like, I think that's also his issue. Like, he took Mertz out, put the kid in. The kid had a little juice. He takes him back out, puts Mertz back in. I think if he wants to save his job, Joe, he needs to live or die with the kid. And if the kid takes off and the kid wins him a bunch of games, he might save his job. He flip-flops the quarterbacks and he keeps losing games. Chop. He's going to be out. He'll never see Tallahassee, that Florida State game in the last week of the season. He'll never see it.
No, you're right. I think he's gone this weekend. I think if they lose, he's gone.
They lose Saturday, you think they'll chop him here. In September, they'll chop him. You think they'll chop him this early?
Or they'll be 1-3.
Yeah, I know, but like, what's the...
Okay, but wait a second.
I guess.
Hang on, Carver. He has the hardest...
You have to tell me when we come back, though. You have to tell me when we come back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We're back here.
Time to coil up that garden hose. And SportsGrid has you covered with strategies and info on football, baseball, and everything else. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo. Purdue University physicists have opened the world's first quantum disco with the world's tiniest disco ball. And by tiny, I mean a disco ball 1/100th the width of a human hair, made of glowing fluorescent nanodiamonds levitating inside a pure vacuum, spinning 1.2 billion times per minute. The point? Not to improve your platform shoe disco finger, but to simulate what happens to qubits inside a quantum computer. Computing power that could be 150 billion times faster than yesterday's supercomputer. And that's a lot cooler than John Travolta doing the funky chicken. Follow me at Chicapalvo on X and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
You go to the playoffs and lose. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. They're not that good offensively. Again, they are boring offensively. Their offense sucks. And it sucked under Canada. It sucks under Art Smith. They obviously win with defense. And they win with TJ Watt. That's why they win.
It's Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge, the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Fall is almost here. It's time to stow the lawnmower and get ready for all that glorious action coming your way. Stay tuned to SportsGrid for all the strategies, angles, and info you need to get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Great to have you with us here on the grid. All right, Joe, finish what you were saying before we went to break. Go ahead. Finish that off.
With what? With Napier? I forgot where we were at now. Where were we?
Yes, you were talking about Napier, Joe. Yes, you were saying.
No.
That they were
I mean, there's no. You tell me if they lose to Miss State, how do they keep him, Carver? He'd be 1-3 in regards to the team, right? His win total was 4.5, 5, and they haven't even gotten into the SEC schedule for the most part. I mean, he's going to get smashed. I mean, they were at least supposed to win some of these games. They're supposed to beat Miss State. They're supposed to beat maybe Miami week 1. I mean, where are they going? Where are the wins coming from? Tell me where the wins are coming from.
I don't necessarily see them. That's for sure.
Show me where they have. Oh yeah, that's a no doubt about it win. Where?
I don't think you could say that anywhere, Joe, with anybody anymore. With the way
but Carver, they had a backup quarterback in Texas A&M. They couldn't beat him. Connor Wegman didn't even play. I mean, they have to play, Carver.
They're not good.
Right?
Joe. They're not good.
They have to play UCF. What? They're going to get smashed.
Yes, Florida plays UCF. Is that game this week or next week?
That's
weeks. In 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
And
they're
play
off
Tennessee.
This week. They're off. That's after
they
have a bye between Mississippi State and UCF, Joe. They have a bye.
They'll be gone before then. They'll be gone.
Well, they haven't even played the hardest part. Like you said, UCF, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State. Ham. You could go to the window with that under 4.5 now, Joe. You could go to the window with the under 4.5. There's no way this team's winning 5 games. Not with that. Even if they win this week, there's no way they're winning 5 games. They're just going to get smashed in all of these games. Very unfortunate. What did you think of the Fighting Bluets in Missouri covering? That was 27-21 Missouri.
Gutless. I laid 6.5 in game. I wanted to knock somebody out with that. Castellanos just wouldn't quit. Throws the touchdown pass down. What were they down? 13. What a sizzle play.
A sizzle play. Did you see Lane Kiffin get all mad at Wake Forest for canceling the game next year? He was all huffing and puffing because they canceled the game. Now they smashed Wake Forest 40-6. I thought I actually had what I liked the over in that game, Joe. I thought they'd score some more. I mean, I thought Ole Miss would score more than 40. I thought they would score in the 50s or 60s and get me to that total. And completely gutless from Wake Forest. And then while they're there, they basically hand them the note. Oh, by the way, here's some money. We're not going to play you next year. We're out. We don't want to play the return.
I mean, Dave Clawson got under my skin 2 weeks ago with the loss to Virginia. So he's on the list
right now. He's on the list right now.
So as far as I'm concerned, sell Wake Forest.
I haven't heard your thoughts on Arch. How Arch was.
He's not
played
Carver.
Very well.
He's not gonna win the job. Carver. They're gonna go with
not
Ewers
gonna
again.
win the job. What do you mean
No.
they're not gonna win the job?
They're gonna put
First
Ewers
of all,
in.
how long is Ewers gonna be out?
He's got an abdominal strain. He's definitely coming back for the Red River rivalry. What is that? Early October?
Well, I'll tell you this. That's October the 12th. I'll tell you one thing. He better hope he comes back for the Red River rivalry. You want to know why, Joe? Because if Arch Manning plays the Red River rivalry and he wins and he puts up big numbers, Quinn's never getting the job back. Okay? He's never getting it back because everybody loves Arch. And if Arch continues to play well, I don't care how great Quinn Ewers is. They're going to keep playing Arch. You know.
No, you can, because Arch doesn't have a marquee game under his belt yet. So if he does play against Oklahoma, then we'll.
What I'm saying to you is,
rivalry and him and him.
I'm saying they better take him out before the Oklahoma game, because if he plays the Oklahoma game and he plays well and they win, that's it after that. Because they play, isn't the Georgia game the next week? Yes, it is. They play Georgia the next week. You're going to put Ewers in cold while Arch just beat up on Oklahoma? No shot. They'll play Arch against Georgia.
Let me tell you, no shot. There's no shot Arch starts against Oklahoma. Okay? No shot. I said
okay. So you've seen you're his doctor. You've seen all the scans. You know what's up with Quinn.
So when you say it, it's okay, the prediction, no shot, him.
But I'm not saying there's no shot he plays. I'm not telling you there is a shot he plays. I'm saying if he plays the Oklahoma game and he plays well, he will never give the job back. It's over for Quinn.
Why with the hypotheticals? You're afraid to put it down on paper? You're afraid that somebody might come back?
I don't know the medical extent of Quinn Ewers. If Quinn Ewers shows up this week and he's healthy, he's going to play. If Quinn Ewers shows up next week and he's healthy, he's going to play. If he shows up the week of the Oklahoma game and he's healthy, I'm sure he's going to play. But if he doesn't, Joe, and Arch does play the Oklahoma game, that's the line right there. He plays well these next 3 weeks and he smashes Oklahoma.
What happens?
That's it.
Yeah. What happens if they lose to Oklahoma?
He'll be Drew. Well, then, Quinn will be back in.
Okay.
What is that? What is that? What was that?
And all of a sudden you stop right in your tracks. You know.
Joe, I don't know what's so hard here. What I'm saying to you is that if he plays the game and he plays well, he's never given the job back. Right. Did I say if he plays well and he plays bad, he's still going to have the job?
Right. And if we have snow in July, then obviously there's, problems. All
right. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying to you. I don't think you're
I do understand.
I'm not thinking you're understanding.
I got it. If
I'm saying they better take Quinn to a lot of doctors
they roll out Arch, and they have a great game. He's the quarterback of the future. Right.
Quinn and all his NIL money and all his team of doctors and everything else that he has, they better get him on the table the next 3 weeks, because if he's not healthy enough to play against Oklahoma, he's going to be chopped. That's what's going to happen to him.
Let me just say this, too, about Arch. This Manning cast is way overrated again. I'm going to continue to beat down the Manning cast. Boring as sin. I mean, I don't know how you watch that.
First of all, let me just – actually, I don't watch it. I watch you and Donnie and Kevin on Monday night.
Well, you should. Very entertaining.
So for you to say that, that's just not right. I mean, I'm watching you guys. You got the NFL syndicate on Monday nights, and you guys are taking care of business over there. Now, do I see the clips of it on social media after? Yes. Yeah. I do see the clips, and yes, it has jumped the shark, just like Jason Kelsey. It's completely jumped. Now, am I interested in the Belichick stuff? I am, because I like when Bill's breaking down the game. I think he's in too many places breaking down the game this year. But I like when Bill's breaking down the game. It's very interesting.
You get
so
that
part of the
professional coach. You get that professional. I want to see through the eyes of Belichick. Why doesn't
Bill
somebody
does a nice
ask him,
job.
hey, Bill, Guru, I mean, why'd you draft Mac Jones? What'd you see? Why'd you draft Bailey Zappi? Why you could see the punches coming, you couldn't get out of the way, huh? Why doesn't somebody say that? They should have
hang that over Bill's head. You can hang that over Bill's head.
Everybody's got to kiss the ring, huh? Nobody's got to.
Everybody's got to kiss the ring. You could get all mad. But him breaking down the game, it's interesting. He does a great job with it. When you listen to him talk football, he does a great job with it. That does did he do a bad job drafting Mac Jones? Sure. He needed to take a quarterback. How many quarterbacks went before Mac Jones in that draft? How many of them?
Like 3?
Fields.
13.
Wasn't that Fields' year?
Lance.
Was that the year Fields was taken? Lance, Lawrence, right? It was the same year for all those guys. Zach Wilson, 4 quarterbacks went before him in that draft. How are all those guys doing? I know they gave Lawrence a lot of money that he doesn't deserve yet. But other than that, how are all those guys doing? That whole draft sucks.
I said it. I was right about Zach Wilson.
Sucks.
Nobody gives me credit about Zach Wilson.
And
Go
that
to the
includes
videotape.
Fields. Fields has done nothing yet either. Fields has done nothing.
I was more. Let me just say this. I was right about Wilson. I was right about Levis. I was right in regards to Lamar Jackson. Who else do you want me to say? I was right about
You're the guy.
Lance.
You're the quarterback guru then. They got to get you on the payroll over there. Carver and
Get
Lisi
all
will
these
back
guys.
Yeah, it's getting cooler. Football weather is here. Stay tuned for all the latest odds, strategies, and info. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Sports Rage tonight.
Bryce Young with the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, does Bryce Young suck? Yes, he sucks. He's too small. He doesn't have any talent to work around him, but it's a team effort. The Carolina Panthers defense is terrible. It's not like, oh gosh, the Carolina Panthers only got a quarterback to be good. Look at all the ridiculously stupid moves that the Carolina Panthers have made. It's like, oh, we need players. You had Christian McCaffrey.
It's Sports Rage tonight with Gabe Morency. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at the University of Waterloo have created a new smart fabric when made into clothing can convert body heat and solar energy into electricity. Super durable with self-powered embedded sensors that monitor air temperature, automatically keeping you warm. Even Wilder monitors your vital signs, including respiration and body temperature. It even detects hazardous pathogens in the air you breathe. There's just one thing you probably don't want to do wearing your electrically charged pants. Shower in them! Follow me at G Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. No way football is playing in the fall and winter because the hits don't hurt as much when you're numb. Get the lowdown on all the sports action coming up right here. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Great to have you aboard on the grid. 6-3 Dodgers now as the Marlins have gotten a couple back down in Miami here. The Braves are up 6-1 on the Reds. Mets are up 9-0 again on the Nationals. So the Mets doing their part, smashing Washington every chance that they get here. Joe, I am going to play Judge tonight, the homer, basically because Yeah, well, whenever they put him at 300 or more, you got to play it. I don't care.
Right.
He's against this Miller tonight. He's played well he's hit well in Seattle in the past. Before last night, I think he had homered in 4 straight games there. But we're going to go after Judge tonight and try to get him across the line.
All right, so go get it. I've been a little bit I need 1 run so I could sweep the board here.
You're out of the baseball. I mean, there's really no point. You got nothing going on.
I gave the people 2 winners if we can get this over, and over 8 in San Francisco, Baltimore. You know?
I want to do a couple other college football things. Then we're going to move on to the NFL because I know you've got a lot to say about that. We didn't bring up this Georgia-Kentucky game here. Now, you can do the I said it. You had Kentucky with the points last week. You thought that Kentucky. I'm glad that I backed off the game a little bit because I was, of course, I was giving you I was really just trying to get you fired up when I was doing, Georgia's going to smoke them. Georgia. They did a really nice job in that game, Kentucky. But, Joe, despite all of that, Stoops punting in the final, 3.5 minutes left to go in the game, Joe. That was as gutless as it gets. I can't have it, Joe. I'm sorry.
No,
at that
you got
point,
me
I want him
on the ropes.
I want him to win the game outright at that point. I want Kentucky to win the game. That would have been great. And he can't punt there. I don't care.
He laid up.
He laid up.
He
completely laid up. Awful.
He did. He laid up. He was playing. I don't know what he was doing. He was playing for, field goals, field position. When you have a team on the ropes like that and you're at home, you got to go for the kill shot, man. I talked about it all week. The last 4 meetings in Lexington have been very close, 10.2 points per game. I thought they would get a better effort because they got abused by South Carolina. And again, that was the only way they could win that game. Because if that game got into the 30s or high 20s, they had no shot to win. That kid Vandergriff and that offense, they can't pass more than 150 yards per game. So, that's the bottom line. You would think that he would roll the dice in that situation, but these coaches get tight. Carver, how many times? Forget Kyle. I know we're going to talk to pros. These coaches, they're trailing by 2 scores. There's 7 minutes on the clock. They're letting the play clock go down to 5 and 6 seconds. And what are they doing, these guys? What are they doing? I don't understand. These guys are getting paid $10 and $12 million. I don't care if the coordinators, you give the leash to the coordinator. You gotta, hey, yo, Bobby, hey, Bobby, what are you doing?
Bobby.
Well, get in his Greg. You're letting the play clock go down. Bobby, got it. Get it. Tempo. What are these guys doing? Check Rico. Can we get a little tempo? I mean, I don't understand these guys. I don't understand these guys. And I love when they rush to the line. They rush to the line of scrimmage. And then all of a sudden they look over to the sideline for 36 seconds. Like what didn't you know before? Like we got to see how he sets. We got to see. That's why none of these quarterbacks are NFL ready. Seriously, they look over at the sideline. They got to wait for the coach to give them the play. Nobody reads film. Nobody breaks down coverage. They're all dumb. Terrible.
I think there is a discussion that we can have later on when we start getting into the NFL stuff, Joe, that we're going to have about some of these young quarterbacks because I think you're right. I know that the trend used to always be they sit, and then the trend became no, you got to play them right away. And I think we might be getting back into we need to let these guys sit and marinate a little bit when you draft them. I think that's going to start to become the norm again because some of these guys are just getting, they're drowning quick, Joe. Some of these guys when they come into the league.
It's unfortunate, but it's a win now mentality, even in college football. I mean, these guys got to hit the ground running. I mean, these coaches that lose a game, right, like Napier and all these guys early on, the pressure is mounting. Everybody. I mean, look at BC when they started 2-0. The fan base actually, in their crazy minds, thought that they were going to go to the college football playoff. They got no shot to go to the college football playoff.
Did they really think that they were going to go to the college football playoff? Was that something that they were actually talking about?
Florida State, I think a lot of people, 2-0 in the 2-0. They beat Duquesne 56-0 in Florida State. I mean,
to be fair, Joe, Florida State was a good win for them. I know that it's not maybe looking as nice anymore because Florida State loses games, but that was a primetime game on the road. Like that was a really good win for them. You can't downgrade that BC win. For that program, that was a good win.
I'm saying, like, the fan base all of a sudden thought, they're 12-0, here we come.
You don't get excited about a lot of stuff. You're going to get excited. And what the hell of a Boston college football fan had to get excited about over the past? When was the last time they were excited, Joe? Matt Ryan? When was the last time anybody was excited in Boston College for football?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Meanwhile, did you see him on the Manning cast? And him too.
Yeah, Matt had a rough go because all I saw of him on the Manning cast was the clip. Didn't you have a clip where he was playing for a field goal or something? I forget what he was doing out there, but he had a rough go on the Manning cast, that's for sure. All right, let me get a couple of these other ones in because I got to get to the NFL when we move along.
Yeah.
San Diego State was gutless in Cal, losing by 21. I thought they would slow that game down a little bit more. Tennessee's a machine. I know they're not playing the best. They're going to start playing the good competition this week. Although they did smash NC State. You can give them credit for that. The game of the weekend, Joe, for both of us. And I've only got 10 seconds. How about UCF coming back in that second half against TCU? Baby.
Carver, I was nervous in that. They were down by 5. I was nervous.
How about Indiana smashing UCLA? Cignetti.
Kirk Cignetti. He's got a steel chin. Got a steel
sure it
chin.
Does. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio. We're back after this.
The boys of summer become the champions of fall. The World Series is on its way, and SportsGrid brings you every angle. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Then here's a great idea. Donate your car and help veterans and their families. Yes, one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program and we'll come and remove your car for free. Fast, free towing, and 24-hour response. You can donate most cars, trucks, or SUVs in most conditions. The proceeds raised goes to help active military, veterans, and their families. And you get a tax deduction. All you need to do is make this free call. Get rid of that old car and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now and book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Donation Program now. Donate your car and help veterans and their families. Operators are standing by. Here's the number.
800-647-5419. 800-647-5419. 800-647-5419. Again, that's 800-647-5419.
Football full circle.
And I have to be honest with you, if Fields picks up this victory this coming weekend, I don't care how ugly it is. There's no way that Mike Tomlin could then turn to Russell Wilson.
Why not? Well, what has Justin Fields done? What has this guy done to deserve this starting job if he didn't win it in the preseason, which clearly he did not?
It's football full circle with Scott Wetzel and Joe Lisi. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Days are getting cooler and shadows are getting longer. You know what that means? It's football weather. So bundle up and keep it here for all the latest strategies and gridiron information. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
A Monday warrior, mean stride. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride.
Yeah, we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Great to have you aboard here. All right, Joe, so there you go. We get ourselves set for Week 4, which has some really good games. Thursday night, South Alabama and App State. Yawn. Friday night, Stanford-Syracuse on Friday night.
Ooh, not
Illinois,
a bad game.
Nebraska.
That's a good game.
Illinois-Nebraska on Friday night, too. Illinois-Nebraska.
Illinois, and you know how good Nebraska's been this year, 3-0. They always have problems with Illinois. They always have problems with Illinois in Champaign, in Lincoln. It doesn't matter. I hope they don't. But that game could be a trap. Who does Nebraska play next week?
Nebraska next week, Joe, plays Purdue on the road.
Okay. So there's no potential for a look ahead.
There's nothing to look ahead there. Joe, there shouldn't be any look aheads. This is the Big Ten. This is the best conference in the land. There's no looking ahead here.
Come on.
No look aheads. Come on.
Come on. You stop.
Are you kidding me? The mighty Big Ten, coast to coast. West Coast to East Coast. LA.
They could be 7-0.
Piscataway.
They could be 7-0 before they square off against Ohio State.
And they will have so much gas and juice in that game. And you're right, they probably will. Now look, they could be 7-0. Be careful with Indiana on the road there in Bloomington. I'm a big Signetti guy.
Here we
now,
go.
so
You're
I'm
on this guy.
He's already won me a couple tickets.
Envelopes?
He's already won me a couple tickets. So I'm very, very happy with him so far. We'll see, Joe. I mean, let's play somebody real. Let's see him here on Friday night. Now, who's Illinois has played nobody either, right? Who have they played?
No,
they beat Kansas. Man, they beat that game where, well, Jalen Daniel gave him the game. He said, here, go ahead and take it. But it's still a win, so we got to give them credit for that.
That UCF game, KJ Jefferson, 75-1 to win the Heisman. You want to take a shot?
No, he's not winning the Heisman. He plays for UCF.
Why can't he win the Heisman?
Because
he's in the Big 12.
You know this, Joe. This is what this has become now. You need to be, not only do you have to have good stats and be a quarterback, but you have to be on a team that's going to win in the national title picture. It's the only way.
They can't go in the Big 12?
Then nobody from UCF is winning the Heisman, Joe. Nobody.
Here we go. KJ Jefferson played in the
I'll go even further. Nobody from UCF will win the Heisman in our lifetime. Nobody from UCF will win the Heisman.
You're so
That's how
bad.
deep I'll go with it. That's how deep I'll go.
Kenzie Milton back in the day. He was a 40-1 shot.
Kenzie Milton.
So let me tell you, KJ Jefferson, by the way, right?
Yeah.
Has played 7 seasons.
Has he really
6,
played 7 years of college football?
6.
So who's Rising got him beat, or has he beat Rising?
Yeah, Cam Rising and Alan Bowman are on their 7th year.
And they're squaring off on Saturday in Stillwater.
Great game. Utah wearing the white threads. Ooh, could be 20-3 for Gundy at home. 20-3 straight up over the last 2.5 years.
Might as well look good if you're going to lose, Utah. Might as well look good if you're going to lose.
Low spread. You really like Utah. Spread. You like Oklahoma State. Nice. Could be another
Cowboys.
one. I tell you what.
Cowboys.
I'm just going to say it out there. And I don't know the picks this week, but I am seeing the board very clear. And from what you're telling me,
you've said that
you are nowhere near me, which is honestly it's like refreshing knowing that you're not anywhere near my picks. You were on LSU last week, dead and buried, had no shot. And then the fact that they fell behind 17-0.
So you're getting on me, who's ahead of you. With the picks right now. I'm ahead of you. You know that, right?
You're ahead by default. That's the only reason why you're ahead.
I'm ahead by default. How am I ahead by default?
Because I let you get ahead, and then I, it's like it's a full sense of security.
Actually, let's just call it like it is. If you'd like to here, while I get the time, I'm actually 14-7 in the games that matter. 14-7 in the games that matter. The week 0 is garbage. The week 0 is garbage.
So
take the week 0 out.
We don't talk handicapping. We don't talk handicapping on week 0.
It's just not. You only pick. They were pigeonholed in these 4 awful games. You couldn't play any of these other games. It just sucked. It was an awful week 0, and I got out to the 1-3. 14-7 since. Okay. Carver and Lisi, Sports Grid Radio. We got another hour to go. We're back after this.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Purdue University physicists have opened the world's first quantum disco with the world's tiniest disco ball. And by tiny, I mean a disco ball 1/100th the width of a human hair, made of glowing fluorescent nanodiamonds levitating inside a pure vacuum, spinning 1.2 billion times per minute. The point? Not to improve your platform shoe disco finger, but to simulate what happens to qubits inside a quantum computer. Computing power that could be 150 billion times faster than yesterday's supercomputer. And that's a lot cooler than John Travolta doing the funky chicken. Follow me at Chicapalvo on X and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and SiriusXM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern. And Pharrell, Coast to Coast, keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi. Then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find Sports Grid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
When the weather cools off,
Major League Baseball playoffs heat up. Sit tight. The World Series is coming. Keep it here for every bit of the action with strategies and information to give you the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen,
please welcome.
It's the opening kickoff with Carver and Lisi.
All right, here we go. Carver and Lisi with you. Sports Grid Radio, SiriusXM, Channel 159. Great to have you with us here on the grid. 844-843-6879 is the number. Great to have everybody with us. Very busy hour, lots of football. I guess we'll try to accomplish the Jet Patriot SGP as well for Thursday night football, unless Joe's already put one together with the syndicate. I'm not sure yet, but if he hasn't, we will try to get one together here in this hour on CNL. We got a lot of baseball, a lot of football, a lot going on. Mike Carver and the encyclopedia of college football, the one, the only. Go for the two, Joe Lisi. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Carver. This is it, baby. NFL week number 3. I cannot wait for this week in the NFL. Now, the Thursday night game is with the Jets and Patriots. I got to admit, not a lot of juice. I mean, it's the Jets and Patriots divisional game. But you know what I'm saying? Like, the props, we're going to have to go into the wickets for these props tomorrow. I mean, it's...
Probably are. Yeah. But... I will give you your thoughts in a second. Before we move on, what exactly are you talking about with ahead by default? What is that? What does that mean? I'm ahead by default.
Whoa, I struck a nerve.
What does that mean? Well, I think that you need to clarify for people what that means. I'm ahead by default.
Whoa, I just said you're ahead by default. Whoa, I struck a nerve. Take a ride.
Because
I
think that the people deserve to know what you mean by that, especially when 4-3, 4-3, 6-1. Like what? How am I ahead by default?
I'm letting you get out to a lead. It's almost like, listen, I'm a thoroughbred, right? Make believe Churchill Downs, right? I'm not gonna get, maybe I could go wide or wire if I take the clear. It's possible, but it's just all right. I'm pacing myself. It's okay. I'm gonna catch you. Weeks 10, 11. I'll make the turn then. Then I go to the whip. All right. I'll be like Mike Smith. That's all. All right. Vasquez.
We shall see.
What was that? What was it? Johnny Vasquez? Velasquez?
John
Velasquez. Which one do you like? Yeah,
Velasquez.
I like Mike Smith back in the day. Giacomo made a lot of money with
I like
that.
Mike Smith.
I'm just saying.
I like Mike Smith.
What?
Mike Smith always.
I'll go to the whip, Carver. I'll go to the whip. Yeah, I'm telling you this right now. I'm going to go to the whip probably mid-October. I'll go to the whip in college. All right? I'll go to the whip mid. But I tell you this right now, from what I've gauged from you, you're going to have a terrible week. I mean, I hope you don't, but you're going to have a terrible week. You shouldn't even play some of these games.
You see, the problem is that you do this every week. You come in here, I'm seeing the board well, you're going to have a terrible week. And it's just not the case. Like I just said, 4-3, 4-3, 6-1 the last 3 weeks. So that's just not
good.
Meanwhile, you're throwing 3 and 4s up there. 3 and 4, 5 and 2, 3 and 4. It's just that
I know. 5 and 2. This could be Carver. I did have a perfect slate the last 2 years. Every weekend I throw in a 7-0. You know that, right?
Well,
I hope it's not this weekend. I hope it's not this weekend. I'm 13 and 12 right now. Let's see from the analytics, right? Exactly what that is to
as you start dropping hints about who you like. I don't think you're going to have the 7-0 this week either.
52%. 52%. First of all, let me just say this. What are you, 14 and what are you, 15 and what?
15 and 10.
You're hitting at a 60 rate clip. You're not going to maintain that. You can't. You don't have enough force in you.
Sure.
You don't have enough force. I mean,
I'm sure that I don't.
I mean, honestly, I was bred from 2 Kentucky Derby winners. I mean, we know the pedigree is there. That's what it is. So I'm just saying, I have it in me. You know what I mean? Plus I'm a little bit older. It's not my first rodeo. And I don't want you to feel like, there's pressure on you this year.
Right.
Well,
through last year, you were ahead after week 3. You were up after week 3. And so this year, I guess I'm out to a better start. So there you go.
You went to the tallies, huh? You went to the tallies?
I always have the running ledger of everything that gets done here. All right, let's do some NFL stuff here, Joe. Before we talk Jets and Patriots and some other games this week, I want to hit a few things with you. Number one, about the Cowboys getting smashed by the Saints. Now, you talked bad about the Saints. I talked bad about the Saints. A lot of people talk bad about the Saints. Coming into the season, they've dropped 44 points or more in both of their games. They smashed Carolina, which was your no doubt about it lead pipe lock of the summer in week 1. And then they go into Dallas and they smash the Cowboys with 4 tutties by Alvin Kamara. Are you impressed with the Saints, or you think they'll come back to earth?
I'm impressed. Well, here's the thing. I think their defense at some point will regress a little bit. They're playing lights out. I know that they got a lot of good pieces in regards to that defensive scheme, and I love DeMario Davis. I just think, and part of their consistency has been the reemergence of Alvin Kamara, right? He was like the forgotten man last year. We were saying, what happened? The guy hit neutral, and where was he, right? Ever since he had that layoff in regards to Las Vegas with that incident, right? He looks like a new guy, but I'm still not a buyer of Dennis Allen. I'm still not a buyer in their outside weapons. I mean, I'm just not. I think at some point they regress. Now, I think part of that was, they have found a little bit of a rhythm with Carr and obviously Taysom Hill and Kamara. But the other half is Dallas. And you can just, Carver, in a big spot, this team never steps up. Doesn't matter who it is. The last time they stepped up was the mid-'90s with Jimmy Johnson and Troy and Emmett and Mike. You know that. When's the last time this team actually won a statement game? Seriously. They don't win statement games. They don't.
They don't win.
Am I wrong?
No statement games. No, you're not. I'm probably going to fall into the trap, and I haven't decided if it's going to be a best bet or not yet. But I actually think they're going to have a statement game this Sunday at home against the Ravens. I think they're going to beat the Ravens at home on Sunday. I do.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm selling the Ravens. I said this from the get-go. I thought the Ravens could be a 10-win football team. I never thought they were deserving last year of the number one ranking, even though obviously I know they had the best record. But my point was, they don't wow you. Outside of Lamar and the offensive line, they have no weapons. Zay Flowers is not. Again, Zay Flowers is a good wide receiver. He's not elite. Isaiah Likely cannot be your leading wide receiver. It's not Travis Kelce we're talking about. I mean, there's a difference. When you're tight end, and Likely's a good tight end, but he's not elite, Carr. He can't be the leading receiver week in and week out for this team. And again, they got clipped. They had the lead. The defense let it apart. And what did Lamar Jackson do again with the game on the line? Against the Raiders defense that everybody, this team sucks, the Raiders suck, they're not going anywhere, they got going to Minshew. Well, he beat Lamar's ass twice in back-to-back years with two different teams. I'm just saying, the guy's gutty. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I'm not going to disagree with you on any of the Lamar stuff this week. We'll see how it goes for him. And look, this is a featured game, right? 425 East. This is the big doubleheader game, late window. Everybody's going to be jacked up. Joe, they have gotten embarrassed at home 2 straight times. Playoff game, Packers, Sunday against the Saints. There's got to be some urgency here. Out of that.
Can I ask a question? If Lamar and the Ravens don't go where they're supposed to, AFC Championship, and let's say they go 9-8 or 10-7, do they blow the whole thing up? Keep Lamar and just blow the whole thing up?
Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio. We're back on the grid right after this.
Ball is coming. Don't look like an idiot at work. Know your stuff. Football and everything else. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at the University of Waterloo have created a new smart fabric when made into clothing can convert body heat and solar energy into electricity. Super durable with self-powered embedded sensors that monitor air temperature, automatically keeping you warm. Even Wilder monitors your vital signs, including respiration and body temperature. It even detects hazardous pathogens in the air you breathe. There's just one thing you probably don't want to do wearing your electrically charged pants. Shower in them! Follow me at G Capalbo on X and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
They never win, though.
Can't be saying that.
I just did, son.
But somebody's going to swing at you over here.
I'm quick, though. I told you. I'm big, too. 240, son.
Not me.
Bobby, tell him what happens to these big 6'4", 240 guys. We go down. It takes a lot to get us down, son. I will truck you, Raleigh.
Man, you're going to put me on the spot. I'm going to have to swing at you.
Raleigh.
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Farrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge. The SportsGrid Radio Network. No way football is played in the fall and winter because the hits don't hurt as much when you're numb. Get the lowdown on all the sports action coming up right here. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Yeah, we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Grid. All right, Joe. A couple of other things. And when you say blow it up about the Ravens, what do you mean blow it up? What are they blowing up? I don't understand what they're going to blow up.
Get rid of Andrews, get rid of all these weapons, get rid of Henry,
I think they've already made the transition from Andrews. I think you've already seen that Likely is going to be going to be the guy.
Okay, get rid. Henry's not the answer if they don't get over the hump. Rashad Bateman, ship him out. All these tertiary wide receivers, get rid of them and get some big guys in there. Get a Devontae Smith. I know you can't get him, but I'm saying a player like that. Get some guys that can burn and get some elite wide receiver talent, and then see if you could win it with Lamar. This ground and pound, methodical, and let's hope that we can just run the football for 180 yards again. They are not built to come from behind because, again, the weapons they're not fast. Outside of Zay Flowers, I mean, think about it, though. They don't have guys that can burn. They don't have guys that can run off the secondary so that they can run the football. He's running around there like every week, like a backyard school, game. 7-on-7. There's he's searching for guys, and his receivers suck.
Who do you want to do the I said it on first? I guess Will Levis. You want to do the I said it on him? He stinks. He's
I said it. He sucks.
I like the coach. I like that the coach is giving him the business too. I like that Callahan.
I need to ask you something.
He's laying. Yeah, go ahead.
In that game, last play, that wasn't PI?
The Sauce grabbing the jersey in the end zone? Yeah, I thought.
No. The last play of the game where he throws it to the 1 yard line and the guy goes through the receiver he went through his back. You could have that should have been an automatic first down.
I saw 600 snaps on Sunday. I'm trying to remember that one. I remember that because I saw it a lot though. Same final drive there.
That was second down or third down, or that was
the second.
I'm talking about play. Where Levis steps up, he scrambles, he throws it over the middle to the 2 or 1 yard line, and the receiver was open for a second, and the DB ran right into him, made contact, and the ball, Now it's a similar play to what happened in Kansas City.
Yeah, you're right. It is a similar play for that one. I know what you're talking about. A similar play to that one. Now, I know that there's Mahomes gets a lot of these, Joe, but I thought they got the flag right, as much as it pains me to say it. The flag on Cincinnati on the 4th and 16. I thought that was a great.
But I know. Well, why didn't the DB just knock down the ball? Why could he? Why did he have to
you know what he's going for, Joe. You know what he's going for. He wants the hero. He wants to be the hero. He wants to go in and grab it. So that's why he did that. He can't just knock it down. Can't do that, Joe. Can't do that.
That would be too easy, right? That's too easy.
Yeah, it's just way too easy. Way too easy for him to do that. 8-3 Dodgers now over the Marlins. So that got over the number, Joe. No doubt about that. Over the number with that one. And they're in the bottom of the 10th. Twins lead the Guardians 4-3. But the Guardians have first and second, nobody out, as they're going to try to see if they can push those runs around. And the Tigers still lead the Royals 4-1 now, as they are in the 6th inning in Kansas City. So some games.
That Giant game was gutless. The total was 8.
The Giant, 5-3 was the final. Giants beat the Orioles there at Camden Yards. Few other ones, Joe. How about an I said it? Now, look, I've heard you on some commercials around here already talk about this, but me and you haven't. The Steelers are 2-0. They went on the road. They won both weeks. It wasn't very pretty, but it doesn't matter. If you go on the road and win and you're 2-0, who cares? Now, me and you have discussed this at length. I still believe, despite what's gone on, and this is solely, Joe, from listening to Tomlin, who, again, I played it on Coast to Coast on Wednesday and listened to it. For whatever reason, Joe, and I don't know what it is, he's still dying to get Russell Wilson in there. I don't know what the reason. I don't know if it's because he promised Russ he'd play or what, or whatever it is. I'm telling you, Joe, you're not going to like it. he's going to put Russ back in there at some point. Now, I know what you're going to say. He wins this week, and I agree with you. It makes it very difficult if the guy's 3-0 and Russ shows up on Monday in the building. Hey, guys, I'm healthy. I want to play now. That's. I think it's very difficult if you're 3-0 to make that move. But I'm telling you, Joe, listening to Tomlin, he's dying to get Russ in there at some point.
But how do you sell that to the locker room? How do you sell that to the locker room?
Right.
The guy that led us to 2 road wins and the home win, depending upon how he plays. And what if he does? And I said this to Wetzel this morning. I said, what happens if he goes out and throws for 200 yards and runs for another 40 or 50? You're going to take him out? How could you take him out?
Yeah.
He did not make bad decisions. He hits Freiermuth down the sideline on a big third down or second down.
He's actually connected on some big plays to Pickens, Joe, but it seems like every time he does, it gets called back for a flag. So he's hit Pickens a couple times, but it's just unfortunate that it's a play never stands. And that's
but if you're
the Falcon
Tomlin,
game and the Broncos
forget the
game
stats, though, right? If you're Tomlin, you see that. He did get the PI on Denver. Remember when he threw it down the field? He threw a laser, and the guy got the PI. Yeah. He put that decision put them in field goal range. I mean, I don't understand. What more do you want the guy to do?
Yeah. No, it's very true, Joe. Very true. But when we come back, tell me what you think about them Sunday, because you have 2-0 teams. Harbaugh and the Chargers with a little gimpy ankle for Herbert, and the 2-0 Steelers. I know one thing, Joe. I wouldn't want to have a gimpy ankle with DJ Watt running after. That's not something that I would want to have.
They stayed on the East Coast, supposedly.
They did. They stayed in Charlotte. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio. We're back after this.
Coil up that garden hose. And SportsGrid has you covered with strategies and info on football, baseball, and everything else. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Football Full Circle.
And I have to be honest with you. If Fields picks up this victory this coming weekend, I don't care how ugly it is. There's no way that Mike Tomlin could then turn to Russell Wilson.
Why not? Well, what has Justin Fields done? What has this guy done to deserve this starting job if he didn't win it in the preseason, which clearly he did not?
It's Football Full Circle with Scott Wetzel and Joe Lisi. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
Unitas again is going to go to the air.
1966, Baltimore Colts quarterback Johnny Unitas throws 4 touchdown passes in a 38-23 win over the Vikings to surpass Y.A. Tittle as the NFL's career leader with 212 touchdowns. Unitas finished his career with 290 touchdown passes and over 40,000 yards. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. That's 800-365-6303.
When the weather cools off, Major League Baseball playoffs heat up. Sit tight. The World Series is coming. Keep it here for every bit of the action with strategies and information to give you the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Carver and Lisi with you, Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Great to have you aboard here on the grid. Let me know, Joe. Steelers, Chargers, obviously maybe one of us will pick it Friday night, maybe not, but either way we'll go through it then. Early in the week here, now midweek, what are you thinking on that game with 2-2-0 team?
Steelers. I'm not sold. Again, I know that Herbert's a little bit banged up, but the Steelers secondary has been playing lights out. They allowed 1 touchdown pass and forced 4 INTs. They held Kirk to $155. I know Bo Nix threw for 240, 246, but that was in garbage time. I think they beat them up. I really do, and I don't care that Harbaugh, stayed in Carolina. I don't care about that.
I like that stuff, Joe. That me with the travel. I get all I get into that stuff, and I like so I like that he stayed out east. And that he's going to stay there in Charlotte and then go to Pittsburgh on Saturday. I think that's cool. But here's one thing I'm also certain of, Joe, and I'm with you. So this is like the first game we've talked about in an hour and a half that I think me and Joe are on the same page with. I don't see J.K. Dobbins and running for $150 against that Steeler defense on Sunday. I don't think the Chargers are going to get that run game, which has been kind of plowing over teams the first 2 weeks. They're not going to have that against the Steelers. So they're going to need to throw the football, which I'm not sure they're ready to do, Joe. Especially with maybe a gimpy Herbert and with TJ Watt, who I still believe is the most impactful defensive player in the entire league, having him out there. So I think we're in lockstep with the Steelers here on Sunday, Joe.
I am too. I just don't think do not see how, from a physicality standpoint, and I know LA looks good right now. But again, they beat Carolina, which is not a physical team. They did beat the Raiders, which I think is obviously a divisional opponent, and you see what the Raiders are. But I think Pittsburgh is just a notch above. I think Pittsburgh from the interior showed they're back to their old ways of ground and pound, and that defensive front gets after it. And the secondary's playing lights out. I mean, when you get a pass rush, it's very hard to go deep. So we're tough. And where are the weapons for, Quentin Johnston was good, 5 receptions, 51 and 2 touchdowns. But outside of him, Carver, Josh Palmer, non-existent. That offense has been pathetic, really. I mean, not great.
No, not great at all. Now, Quentin Johnston's been good, Joe. He had 2 touchdowns, of course, last week. He looks like maybe he's getting it going a little bit.
That's his career best, though, Carver. That's his career best in 2 years is 51 yards.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. I picked him up on the fantasy team, by the way, for us because we needed.
Am I going to have any input on the fantasy lineup at any of these times?
Maybe you would actually be a little, get involved a little bit. Hey, what do we got? How do we do this? We didn't even ask me how we did on Sunday. You basically just brushed it off.
Did we win?
No, we got smashed. I mean, we got absolutely smashed. So
I got to put my footprint on this team this week. You want me to set the lineup since you've been setting the lineup?
Yeah, you could set the lineup this week, Joe. If you want to set the lineup, you could set the lineup this week. There's really not much to change. I mean, I don't know what you're taking out. We're not sitting Allen. You're not sitting Connor and Montgomery. I mean, we're going to get Walker back in there, hopefully. That hurt us not having Walker this week. You know what really hurt us, Joe? I'll tell you what really hurt us. The fact that the Niners, basically played possum with McCaffrey the entire month of August and acted like he was going to be ready to go first week, no problem, no doubt about it. And then sure enough, even up until what, Joe? An hour before the first game, they basically told you he was fine. And now the guy's not going to play the whole season. So that's just great. I love that they did that for it all. Because it's not just the fantasy. And people probably, we want to hear you barking about your fantasy. I know nobody cares about it. There's a billion fantasy teams out there. How about, Joe, the tickets for McCaffrey for Offensive Player of the Year, the tickets for McCaffrey for MVP, the tickets for him, all this stuff. Wasted year. And, Joe, let me tell you, here's another thing about that team. No Debo, no Christian McCaffrey for the next few weeks. Can the guy who's making $30 million, who doesn't deserve $30 million, actually act like it in this next few weeks? Can Ayuk become a big part of the offense for them? I mean, because he makes Justin Jefferson money, Joe, and he ain't Justin Jefferson, as we talked about.
Jawan Jennings.
So he'll have bigger games than the $30 million man during this time that Debo and McCaffrey are out. I agree with you 100%. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio. We're back after this.
Yeah, it's getting cooler. Football weather is here. Stay tuned for all the latest odds, strategies, and info. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Pharrell, coast to coast.
They never win, though.
Can't be saying that in
I
Vegas.
did, son.
But somebody's going to swing at you over here.
I'm quick, though. I told you. I'm big, too. 240, son.
Not me.
Mafia, tell him what happens to these big 6'4", 240 guys. We go down. It takes a lot to get us down, son. I will truck you, Raleigh.
Man, you're going to put me on the spot. I'm going to have to swing at you.
Raleigh!
It's Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge. The SportsGrid Radio Network.
For anyone who's worried about back taxes, has not filed tax returns, and doesn't know what to do next, stop and listen. Not filing your taxes can have severe consequences, especially in this political climate. Now that COVID is over, the IRS is getting aggressive, massively increasing enforcement and collection efforts. With politicians making all sorts of promises, especially when it comes to taxes, hiding and not dealing with your taxes will cause you harsh legal and financial ramifications. But right now, the IRS offers forgiveness and writes off a massive amount of tax debt. The Tax Doctor offers a free service that helps people get out of IRS collections and back in good standing with the government. Don't hide or bury your head in the sand. Take advantage of our free service. Call now to learn more. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. That's 800-816-4492.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Grady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Fall is almost here. It's time to stow the lawnmower and get ready for all that glorious action coming your way. Stay tuned to SportsGrid for all the strategies, angles, and info you need to get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Great to have you with us here on the grid. All right, Joe. Jets and Patriots Thursday night. I want to make sure we get to it because, of course, you'll be on with the Syndicate, Donnie, and KW for the game here on the grid. You'll be on throughout the duration on the TV side. So let's try to put the SGP together. Thoughts on the game first, Joe, before we get there for this one. Of course, the Patriots, I guess, Joe, we've seen, what they want to do over these first 2 weeks. We're going to run it. We're going to play D. We're going to control the football. We're going to try to win 13-10. All that stuff. They did it in Cincinnati. They ended up winning. They went to overtime at home against Seattle. They cover the 3.5, but they don't win the game, losing by the field goal. Now, Joe, they're getting 6.5. Home opener for the Jets, who go 1-1 on the road the first 2 weeks. These Thursday night games are always a little tricky for the road team, unless you're the Bills going to Miami like last week, because they always smash at that place. But either way, Joe, do you think that this Gerard Mayo, Jacoby Brissett, grinded out show will continue against the Jets tomorrow night?
Carver, this line was 7, and I'm like about a week ago, and I'm like, I should just take the 7 points, but they've covered now in back-to-back weeks. Depending upon when you got the line, they were 3.5-point dogs to Seattle. All right, it got down to 3 right before kickoff, and they pushed. If you got the 3, if you got the 3.5, you won, right? So now they're on the road. This is, another spot. It's a divisional opponent. They certainly don't have the quarterback advantage, Carver, but you know what? I would probably take a shot. Part of me wants the Jets to lose so bad in this game. So bad, right? Last week we had the Bills catching the 1.5, and we said, how are the Bills underdogs, right? And they boat raced them.
This is like for me, Joe, personally, this is like an early season, like very tough what to root for spot because I'm on the Patriots under the 4.5 for the season. They've already gotten a win that I didn't think they were going to get in Cincinnati in week number 1. I would love to see the Jets lose in this spot, but then I'm adding a second win to the Patriot ledger. I got the Jets under as well with the 9.5, but still, here's my thing, Joe, and as much as I can't stand the Jets, and I know that you can't either, there's one thing we haven't seen with New England yet this year through these first 2 games, and that is how they respond when they get down a couple scores, because they haven't been down a couple scores. They've been able to continue to run the offense that they want to run. Let's say the Jets get up, they hit them 14-0 right out of the gate. Like, Rodgers got the place pumped up. Let's say Breece Hall breaks or whatever. Maybe, what? I don't think the Pats are built, obviously, to be able to sustain that. And I feel like if that happens, Joe, the game could become like a 34-10 type of game, 34-7 type of game.
Then what I'm willing to do is to back it up, take the Patriots, and then take the over. Because if the Jets win, they're going to smash them, right?
Yeah. Look, I think if you want to take the Jets, Joe, I think that
I got to sit through another 4 hours of 28.
What I'm saying is, if you want to take the Jets, I think you alt it up. I think if the Jets win, they win big. The Jets are going to win big if they win. I think they're going to smoke them if they win. I think if it's obviously it's a tight game, it's 6. I don't think it's going to be a tight game. If it's a tight game, the Pats will win. I alt it if you like the Jets. 13.5.
I think I might get myself in on the over, because it seems like such an unlikely over. Like you just said it? How are the Patriots going to get there? Which probably means it's going to get there. So,
well, look, if it's a Patriot type game, it could be 20-17. If it's a Patriot game and they're able to control the rock and do stuff,
outside
then
of
it could be an
Stevenson,
under.
who's he going to throw to? Douglas, Hunter Henry, who's he going to throw to?
That they have, Joe. Have you seen a worse wide receiver room than the one that the Patriots currently send out there every week? You remember a worse wide receiver room?
I actually thought New Orleans was up there with when New Orleans started the year, but they've been pretty good.
Shaheed's been great. New Orleans, Shaheed's been great for them. What you mean? What? He can't be a player? Shaheed can't be a player?
Shaheed's good.
And they have Olave too, Joe. That's not fair. Olave's a first-round pick, a big-time player. The Pats have no one even close to Olave's level of talent. Nobody close.
They got the kid from Baylor, Thornton. Do they use him?
Come on, Tyquan Thornton. Come
on, Tyquan
Thornton. Get serious, Joe.
Jalen Pope, AJ Osborne, Mario Douglas.
Let's try to do this here. I got $5 again. So we need to.
All right, so let's do it.
What did you get? You got 100 again? First? Or are they up yet? 100, 200, 500. What did they give you this week, Joe? What they blast you up over there?
All right, hang on. I got to see. Bear with me. You ready?
Yeah.
They gave me 100.
Okay, good. All right, you want me to go first this week?
Yeah, you go first. You're chomping at the bit.
Here's where I'm going. I'm going right to a touchdown because I've had this circled for a few days now. In fact, I played it on Sunday and it didn't hit. I do not believe, Joe, that we are going to go 3 games into the Jets season and Aaron Rodgers isn't going to find Garrett Wilson for a touchdown. I just don't believe it. I think, especially here at home on this game, I think he's going to look to get Wilson more involved. I know that Lazard was the first game where they lost in San Francisco. A lot of the running back play on the road in Tennessee this week. I think that Rodgers is going to make it a point to get Garrett Wilson the ball. So I want to do plus 150 Wilson touchdown for this game, Joe.
That's a good look, Carver. I want to go Braylon Allen over 22.5 rushing.
I like it.
Rushing.
Yeah,
not receiving.
They don't offer the alt with him. Now, they'll give you the alt probably closer to kick, right, Joe? They'll probably give you an alt closer to kick. But
no, they have an alt on him now, 25 plus at 105, 104.
So you want to just take that? What You did 22.5 or 25? What do you want to take?
Let's just take the 22.5 just to play safe.
Wow, okay. Wow, just to play it safe. I never hear that from you. Very interesting. Just to play it safe. Unbelievable. All right, Joe, it's in 22.5.
All right, God.
Guess we got to put something Patriots in here, right?
Yeah, God.
We got to put something in. What do you want? Hunter Henry? Jalen Polk, KJ Osborne. This is pathetic. It's got to be Stevenson, Joe, right? We got to do something with Stevenson.
Touchdown?
How about if we're thinking that the Jets potentially smashed them, that means he could catch a lot of balls, Joe. You want to go Stevenson from the receiving end?
Sure.
All right,
Sure.
How about, here it is. I got it here. Give me 1 second. I got it here, Joe. Give me a moment.
14.5.
Dallas Garcia. Unbelievable.
14.5.
Homers tonight. Man, I wanted to go a little higher than that, Joe. That's all they got? All right, 14.5. You see this again. This is going to end up being not enough for me and my $5 that they're giving me. You're going to be sitting fat with Andy.
I'm waiting for my leg. 14.5.
Right.
Now do this. Ready?
Yeah.
Over 41.5.
And the all total. Over 41.5, huh? Again, you're giving me nothing. This is less than last week. I thought that you were screwing me last week with the Bill Dolphin game. This is even less. What you're giving me here? You're giving me nothing.
Right,
plus
so
1179. What am I supposed to do with that?
41, take the 41.5 out.
All right, think about it. We'll be right back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. We'll be back after.
Kicking your can all over the place, singing, we will rock you.
The boys of summer become the champions of fall. The World Series is on its way, and SportsGrid brings you every angle. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Football full circle.
And I have to be honest with you. If Fields picks up this victory this coming weekend, I don't care how ugly it is. There's no way that Mike Tomlin could then turn to Russell Wilson.
Why not? Well, what has Justin Fields done? What has this guy done to deserve this starting job if he didn't win it in the preseason, which clearly he did not?
It's football full circle with Scott Wetzel and Joe Lisi. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
Unitas again is going to go to the air.
1966 Baltimore Colts quarterback Johnny Unitas throws 4 touchdown passes in a 38-23 win over the Vikings to surpass Y.A. Tittle as the NFL's career leader with 212 touchdowns. Unitas finished his career with 290 touchdown passes and over 40,000 yards. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at the University of Waterloo have created a new smart fabric when made into clothing can convert body heat and solar energy into electricity. Super durable with self-powered embedded sensors that monitor air temperature, automatically keeping you warm. Even Wilder monitors your vital signs, including respiration and body temperature. It even detects hazardous pathogens in the air you breathe. There's just one thing you probably don't want to do wearing your electrically charged pants. Shower in them! Follow me at G Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
No way football is played in the fall and winter because the hits don't hurt as much when you're numb. Get the lowdown on all the sports action coming up right here. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM 159. Great to have you with us here on the grid. CNL Wednesday. Of course, you get me and Joe together on Wednesday and Friday nights, which is nice. We always love that. Joe, you got to give me something better here. I just cannot.
Take the over 43.5.
I mean, what is that going to do for me, Joe? 12.89. Joe, these is peanuts. What you're doing to me here? We need something juicy in there. I'm gonna have to swap something out of mine. I'm gonna have to take something out. I'm gonna have to take one of mine out. You want the over 41.5? Leave the over 41.5. I'm gonna have.
Why don't we let's do 41.5 and make Garrett Wilson 2 touchdowns.
2? You want to go 2 tutties?
Yeah.
You know, they always say, Joe, 1 is better than 2. You say that sometimes. I got to find 2 touchdowns on here. Hold on. 2 touchdowns. All right. Well, now you got a little bit of teeth here, Joe. You got some teeth for me. Plus 43.48. That's a little teeth. That's some teeth. 2 touchdowns, though, Joe?
Yeah, why not?
Tell you, you're going to be real mad if he only gets 1.
Yeah, well, what if he does get 2? No good?
1 is better than 2. I mean, look, this obviously works better for me for my measly $5 that they give me. I know it's not as good for you. You probably want something a little less with your Hyundai. Although last week, what'd you do? Like 84.50 or something like that? What was it that you did last? Are you going to give some funky number here, Joe? Like whatever's left, 37.12. Like what are you actually using this on? Right? How much you putting on it?
I'm not using it on anything. I'm going to put a flat Hondo on it.
Wow, going with the flat hundo on it, huh? Okay.
No sweat.
All right, fine. No sweat.
I'm in.
All right, so you want to do it? No sweat.
It's in.
All right, I got the token. Wilson. Token's in. I got it. So 2 tutties. 2 tutties for Garrett Wilson. Not 1, 2. We need him to score twice. Over 41.5. Braylon Allen over 22.5 rushing yards. And Stevenson over 14.5 receiving yards. That's what we're going with?
Yep.
All right. There you go. I'm in.
43.48.
43.48. That's exactly what we get to. 43.48. Token applied. Done. I'm in. Put it in, Joe. We're good.
Him.
I mean, can we hit one of these?
I mean, I hope we hit this one. This is a nice score if we hit.
It'll be a real nice score for you. Won't be as good for me, but it'll be a real good score for you.
Why will it be a good one for me?
It'll be a great one for you. You got Hyundai on it. So? And it's like a $4,000 hit for you if that comes through. It's a big number.
Yeah, so what's wrong with that? That's a big nut.
It's not. Yeah, I know, but for me, it's not. For me, it's not. Greedy, Joe. I want a little bit more. Greedy.
You're so greedy. You're going to get smashed in the college with your picks, so you better readjust.
Can Judge start here off with a homer? Can we get Judge to homer here to start this thing off? What do you think? How about Judge goes yard off of Miller to start things off in Seattle? Why not, Joe?
It's possible. You know?
Yeah, hey, what about let me ask you, I want to hit you with a couple other games here. And then obviously Friday night we'll go through all the games. By the way, Matthias last night, you talk about puffing your chest out.
Monday night, not last night. Oh, last night
we didn't have a show on Monday night. George was with me last night, of course, on Tuesday, and Matthias
was puffing his chest
out about the Falcons.
I sure was. I sure was, baby. You know what? I didn't mince my words.
Prediction for Sunday night. Tell him your prediction for Sunday night, Matthias. Go ahead.
Big win for the Dirty Bird in the Big A. Free hot dogs, free sodas, free chips. It's going to be a big-time party in the Big A. And you know what? And then we have New Orleans coming in the
George,
an even bigger win. An even bigger win.
Joe, did you hear about this? I'm glad Matthias reminded me about this. Did you hear about this? How about Arthur Blank, who's the owner of the team, who makes the decisions on who goes on the Ring of Honor, putting himself in the Ring of Honor on Sunday. Now,
that is
him and Matt Ryan are going in. So there's two things about this. One, it should be Matt Ryan by himself, because Matt Ryan's arguably, probably, Joe, I mean, is there a better quarterback in Falcon history than Matt Ryan? No. He's the greatest quarterback. Okay, so whatever. So there you go. So he's the greatest quarterback in franchise history. It's his night to go in the Ring of Honor.
Mike Vick?
And Blank's got to stick himself. Well, yeah, I guess you're probably right, Joe. Although Ryan obviously...
Absolutely not. Mike Vick is not a better quarterback than Matt Ryan. Michael Vick never played in a Super Bowl. What are you talking about?
Vick was very good for the Falcons, but Ryan, MVP, goes to the Super Bowl. It's up in the air. I'd say it's Matt Ryan, probably by a little bit over him. Either way, forget all that. How about the stones on this guy putting himself in the Ring of Honor and they kind of just taking, pushing Matty Ryan to the side as well in the process. And he goes and gives all the fans, now this is great, it gives them 2 dogs, 2 chips, unlimited soda all night, basically to say, you're coming here to honor me, I'm giving you everything for free. It's my night, Joe. Arthur Blank saying on Sunday. My night.
Old man, I probably, when I get to his age, if I had his billions, I probably would do the same thing. I would have the scones to do that. Me, look at me.
That's too much. I mean, usually owners go in the Ring of Honor when, let's say, they sell the team or a great owner, but they unfortunately pass away and their kids do it or whoever takes over the team. Him even live, and he goes, I'm going to go and put myself in the Ring of Honor this week.
Is he married? Is he married, Arthur Blank?
I do not know about the
I'm just saying,
personal entanglements of Arthur Blank. I have no idea.
Right out.
I'm sure somewhere along the line, Joe, with Arthur, there's plenty of family of the Blank.
I definitely would.
Carver and Lisi, Sports Grid Radio. We're back after this.
Luck is winning the lottery. Strategy is settling your divorce before cashing in the ticket. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and SiriusXM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Are you retired like me, and you just found out you owe the IRS a ton of money? Well, what would your life be like if they took your retirement savings away from you? They can do it, and your property. If you owe the IRS back taxes or you haven't filed in a while, the Tax Relief Line is here to help you. They can stop the IRS from taking your retirement savings. If you qualify, you could have your tax bill reduced to zero. That's right, if you're retired and you owe the IRS a lot in back taxes, you could have your entire tax bill reduced to zero due. The IRS has now hired thousands of new employees, so they're ready to come after you. Don't let them take your retirement savings or property. Make this free call now.
800-590-4933. 800-590-4933. 800-590-4933. That's 800-590-4933.
Days are getting cooler.
The shadows are getting longer.
You know what that means. It's football weather. So bundle up and keep it here for all the latest strategies and gridiron information. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Yeah. And we're back. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, SiriusXM 159. Great to have you with us here on the grid. Couple of other things, Joe. Obviously, Friday night we'll be back together. We will do, as per usual during football season, 1 hour college football previews, our picks, etc. Second hour NFL previews, our picks. We'll go through all the games, as many as we possibly can during that time. A few other things I did not get to you yet. Number one, are you surprised that they pulled the plug so fast on Young, your boy Canales? Although, as we know, there's other people who have their hands in the cookie jar in Carolina besides Dave Canales, namely the owner, David Tepper. Are you surprised that they pulled the plug and went to the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, so quick?
No, I think it's a reset. I think they'll sit Young for a couple of games and then try to get him in there in game maybe 5 or 6 in that regard. He looks like a deer in the headlights, Carver. He's completing 55%, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, less than 5 yards per pass attempt. I mean, wake up. I mean, the kid needs a wake-up call. Maybe this is it.
Maybe this is it indeed. I saw some footage of Jordan Love actually running around and doing some stuff at the Packers practice on Wednesday. Of course, they got by without him, and I thought that was a brilliant game plan by Matt LaFleur, Joe. I haven't said this to you. Maybe I texted it to you. He knew a guy can't throw. He saw the Colts give up 250 yards to the Texans in week 1. And it wasn't just Jacobs had a huge game, but the way he worked everyone in, Joe, he had Jacobs running, he had Willis running, he had Reed on sweeps. He had LaFleur did an unbelievable job, and he got his team a win when he didn't have his quarterback last week. I thought it was excellent. I don't know if he could do it again this week in Tennessee, although Tennessee stinks. If Love's doing that much work, Joe, I think he's going to play on Sunday.
He might, but I still like them on the road. I mean, I like their defense, and I like LaFleur. I think he's a very good head coach, and his teams are always prepared. With or without Love, I still think they have better playmakers than the Titans. Where's Calvin Ridley? Where's DeAndre Hopkins? Talk about nothing in the tank for
Ridley
D-Hop.
Played well last week. I thought Ridley was pretty good last week against the Jets. I mean, he had 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns. I thought Levis stinks. And wait, they're already clamoring for Mason Rudolph in Tennessee. They can't wait to get Mason Rudolph in there and move along with their season.
Wouldn't be a bad
Here's
look.
Another one. Well, yeah, I don't think it would be a bad look either. Here's another one, Joe. I think that the Dolphins are a sneaky play in Seattle on Sunday. I think a little extra rest, McDaniel with some time to work with Skyler. I don't think Seattle's that good. I think that's a game. They might not win, Joe, but if you're giving me 4.5, I know it was 6.5 earlier in the week, I like the points with Miami.
I'm not touching that game. That team is gutless. They can't stop the run. How are they going to stop Zach Charbonnet? They gave up 240 rushing yards to your Bills, 122 to Jacksonville. Charbonnet. They can't stop the run. How are they going to what? They can't slow down the run. What?
Do you think that the Lion-Cardinal game will be like a pinball machine in terms of scoring on Sunday?
What's that total? I didn't see that total.
Fifth, right this second, 51.5.
Probably, but I don't want to get burned with these Detroit overs again. They played to the under 2 straight times. 2 straight times to the under. And they've had 50-point totals.
50-point totals. What about Caleb Williams on the road in Indianapolis?
I'm rooting for Indy so hard, you have no idea. I'm rooting for Indy.
These 0-2 teams, Joe, a lot of pressure on them this week, as you know. That's like the line. You don't want to go to 0-3. You start digging yourself too big of a hole. Colts are one of those teams that are in that spot this Sunday.
Giants. I like the Giants on the road.
I do too. I don't know if they'll win, but I'm not laying 6.5 with Deshaun Watson, Joe. There's no shot. There's just no shot that I would lay those points with him. No shot. Texans, Vikings, any feel on that here in the middle of the week?
Over.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see, that Texan Bear game was such a snoozer on Sunday night.
Ugly.
Oh,
it was ugly.
God. That game was brutal. And to be fair, I thought the Eagle-Falcon game was for 3 quarters too. The fourth quarter was good in the Eagle-Falcon game. I thought the first 3 quarters were a snooze fest.
You're going to laugh.
Joe,
I think the Jags are live against your Bills.
If that game was Sunday at 1, I would be super worried with the 0-2 Jags team coming in. I think playing Monday night raucous, lit-up Buffalo crowd is going to neutralize it a little bit, and it's going to help them out, Joe, in that spot. We'll talk about it more on Friday. Joe, you'll see tomorrow night, of course, with the Syndicate on the during the game for the Jets and the Pats. He'll be back with me Friday. Great job by Matthias Purvel. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio. Cash your tickets. See you Friday.
Train roll on.
Fall is here. It's getting cooler. Football and the World Series are coming in. Life is good. SportsGrid.